Hello.
Hello.
Sorry we're late. We got carried away talking.
Yes.
Whoops.
Hello, everybody. I won't be able to click on all the comments just because, well, there's quite a few of you here actually. I did say to Pris just before we came on, like, I'm terrified that no one will be here. And she was like, no, there's people waiting. I was like, thank God.
There are people who actually show up for my Keeper live show, so you're good. If people show up for Keepers, we're good.
The hamsters need to be working a bit harder. I'm struggling today. It's Wednesday, so I look after my nephew with my brother on a Wednesday evening, and he was having his milk before bed, watching his tablet and watching his shows and stuff, and I was falling asleep on the bed. My brother was like, Steph, you need to go home. You've got a live show in an hour. I was like, okay.
What a good brother, though.
I'm so tired. Okay, welcome to the first live show for Cliterature Book Club. I'm so excited. We have both Pris and India joining me today for The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang.
Woo!
Did we all love it? What did you rate it? Did we all love it?
I gave it 5 stars.
I also gave it 5 stars. I'm so glad that this has made me actually read it. It's one of those ones where, like, because it was hyped, I never read it, and for some reason I don't touch things until the hype has died down. I don't know why, but I wish I'd read this so long ago.
Yeah.
Kind of same. I am not a big romance reader, but I can say this is now my favorite romance books. This even overtakes the Brown Sisters for me.
Ooh. You love that series.
I was all over this. This was just fantastic.
Oh, so good. What did you rate it, Steph?
I rated it 5 stars the first and second time I read it, so yeah.
It holds, what's it? It withholds the stand of time. What is it? Withstands the something of time. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I think you know what I mean, but it's just not coming out.
I know what you mean. But again, my brain isn't working, so we I know what you're saying, but I don't know.
What's the saying? What is the phrase?
It holds up this.
It's not just me.
But this is going to be an entertaining live show. Thank you, Cassidy. I appreciate you. I haven't read the book, so I'll be heading out in a minute. Just got my whatever thought bookmarks, and they're amazing. I came in to say thank you for the amazing work. You are very welcome. Thank you so much for dropping in and saying that. We're going to do like non-spoilery thoughts to start off with. So our ratings, what we initially thought of the book, and then we will go into spoilers. So for those of you that haven't read it but wanted to just check in, see what we thought, you can bow out at that point if you want to, if you plan on reading it. So 4 stars from CC. Reread and changed it to 5 stars. Nice. Lots of 5 stars here. Favorite of the year.
Ooh.
Love to see that. 4.5. Gave it 4. I wanted to read it for ages, so I'm glad I finally had an excuse.
Me.
Reread 4th time, and it was a 5-star. Nice.
I can see myself rereading.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The cast is going to be covered.
Why was that so difficult?
Struggles. Stands test time. 4 stars, 5 stars. When I first read this book, I'd already read The Bride Test.
Oh, had you?
Yeah, which is the second in the series. This is not the first time I've done this, by the way, because I did it with Abby Jimenez's The Friend Zone. I read the oh, fuck my life. The something playlist. I've forgotten what the fuck it's called, which is the second in the series. Happily Ever After playlist. Don't do that. Like, this one doesn't matter too much because Kai's only in it a little bit, who is the main character in the second book, The Bride Test.
Yes.
It doesn't matter too much with this one. If you read them out of order, I don't think it matters too much. However, because these are definitely companion novels. However, with the Abby Jimenez series, The Friend Zone, the Happy Ever After playlist, and whatever the third one's called, I can't remember. Don't do it. Read them in order, because the main character in the second book, her entire story starts in the first book, like the whole story, her whole story. So I read the second one, then went back and read the first one, and I was like, great. I just spoiled this whole thing for myself. Awesome.
Oh, that's so annoying.
I was gutted. I still give the whole series 5 stars, but regardless, don't do it. I always say that with that series. That was a bit of a tangent, as always, with me, but still, just
I feel like you still hold a grudge for that one. It still hurts you.
myself.
I do think this is more like companion novels than really a series.
Yeah.
And I was so obsessed with this that I ordered immediately the Bright Test and the Heart Principle, and I read both of them already.
Nice.
Oh, I need to. I've got the other two because I ordered them all together as like a 3-pack because it was cheaper than just buying. I think it was like £14 for the 3 or £8 for one. So I was like, well, I'm gonna get the 3 then.
That makes sense.
But I've heard such mixed things about the other two. Like some people love them all. Some people gave one of them 2 stars. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
This is definitely was the best one for me. I just didn't like the Bright Test that much. Heart Principle was very good, but not as good as this.
Yeah. I enjoyed the Bride Test, and then obviously came back to read this one, which I gave 5 stars. I can't remember what I gave the Bride Test, to be honest, but I haven't read the Heart Principle yet because, again, I've heard very mixed things.
I really like the Heart Principle.
Yeah. Yeah. I also felt like the ending was rushed. Upon reading it on reread, I thought the same thing, but I still love it. So it still got 10 stars for me.
I do. Miscommunication is always a sore spot for me. I struggle with it. So it's a formula. It comes up in basically every romance novel you read. Like there's no way of getting away from it. But sometimes it annoys me more than others. And I was on the edge. I was on the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does have very good diversity.
Yeah.
5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars.
Wow.
Nice. Don't think I will reread this in the future after I finished it, unless the ending is spectacular, which I highly doubt. Fair. Currently reading The Bride Test. Also gave The Bride Test 5 stars. Yeah, I've heard this also.
Maybe that's why people go in thinking they're going to get more of the same, and then that's why they rate it lower. Yeah. I'm so bad for that because if I have like expectations for what a book is going to be and it's not that, I'm like, oh crap, but it's my own fault.
Yeah.
Now reading this comments, I do agree with that.
Yeah. It reminds me of a TV show on Dateables where disabled and learning difficulties.
Yes.
Love that. Yeah.
I agree with that.
I do want to reread The Bride Test, to be fair. I might do that before I pick up The Heart Principle.
I'm going to need to read them now.
But there's such, like, even The Bride Test I really, like, enjoyed. I was just not... There is this, like, huge secret in that book which I was not on board with. And that annoyed the crap out of me. But it was still, like, enjoyable. And they're such quick reads.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, it's just... and I've been reading them, too, like, in between very epic and high fantasy, which has been just so nice to just zone out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Rated it 3 stars. I think the reason I didn't mind the miscommunication in this book is that there were that it was more their insecurities than true miscommunication. They both didn't believe in themselves, which led to conflict. There are times in which I find that the miscommunication is understandable. So sometimes when it's petty miscommunication, it's a case of, like I was reading The Good Girl Complex the other day. The miscommunication on this one is a fucking nightmare. But I really enjoyed it regardless. I gave it 4 stars, but the miscommunication is annoying. However, I agree with that comment about the fact that the miscommunication in this one is more like insecurities rather than miscommunication. And it's a case of, because I have this in my own personal life as well with my partner, and I get very insecure sometimes about telling him if, like, for example, my anxiety is really bad one day or I'm having a bad mental health day and I don't tell him. And then he gets annoyed at me when he finds out in another route, whether it be my sister-in-law checks in or something else, and he gets annoyed because I've not told him. And that's like my own fault for not telling him. And it's a lack of communication from me, but also I don't want to bring him down and seem like I'm being a burden. So it's, I don't know, in real life, miscommunication happens, but it's whether or not or a miscommunication or just, you know, an insecurity. So
no, I think that's why I was okay with it. Like I said, I was on the line, but it was okay because I was just like, no, like, guys, just stop it. But more like I love you guys, like, please stop doing this way, rather than I'm so sick of this. So
yeah. How romance right smart. I was laughing more than I was turned on. I think I was just saying to Pris, I forgot how smutty this book is.
I thought it was great.
And it is good, but it did get to a point, because I'm rereading it as well. It did get to a point where, come towards the end of the book, I was like, this is just like repeatedly sex scene after sex scene after sex scene now. And sometimes I can get a little bit like, just, you know, this could be packed filled with these two trying to sort their shit out and get back together, rather than rushing the very end because you've packed in 5 more sex scenes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like it worked a bit more in this one though, because of like her journey through it.
Yeah.
I won't say any more just now, but
yeah. Didn't like how much money was involved. Interesting.
See, I don't know, because that's funny, because that's like a thing between me and my partner, money, because he has always made a lot more than me, and it can cause, again, miscommunication.
Yeah.
I can see that money is like, can be like a thing between partners.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think as well, it's good to see it represented in a different way as well. There are, like, for example, I've read The Fine Print by Lauren Asher, and in that situation, he's super fucking rich and she's not. And it's usually a case of the guy is the rich person. I don't know why.
Yes.
Sorry. It's usually a case of the guy is rich and the woman isn't. And I think it's nice to see it representation in this one.
All the way around.
Yeah.
In
I
which
agree.
he's rich and he's not. So I don't know. It's nice to see that representation. Did anyone else get the Pretty Woman vibes from it as well?
A little bit, yes.
My favorite comparisons.
Like,
I love it.
Like a reversed Pretty Woman.
Yeah, and if
I'm not gonna lie, I've never seen Pretty Women.
Oh, have you not? You need to watch it.
Well, you need to watch that.
You've got to watch it because you will love that.
Yeah, you will love that.
Okay.
Watch it. For anyone that's not watched Pretty Woman and you enjoyed this, go watch it. There's
it's probably just me.
But there's actually a thing in here in the author's note. She's actually written, you see, a gender swapped Pretty Woman had been niggling at the back of my mind for quite some time, but I hadn't been able to figure out why a successful, beautiful woman would hire an escort. And then she goes on to explain, because she's autistic, that would be why she might do it, because she's feeling insecure.
I did like as well, like the money and the escort and the ideas that it has around like masculinity and like ideas of masculinity, like how that kind of came through as well. So that was interesting. Well done.
Yeah, I agree with this. It's bad, but I'm more lenient with insecure miscommunication. Yeah,
it was believable. That's another thing. This was believable. Sometimes you're like, it's not like, we would have talked by now.
They were perfect for each other, but I think they got at the end to a point where they both felt like they weren't good enough for one another.
Yeah.
They were like perfect for each other, and that led to the miscommunication.
Yeah.
And they both had believable reasons for feeling like they wouldn't be good enough for the other one. So
yes, I have. A long time ago, but yes, I have read 50 Shades of Grey, not recently. Yeah. I appreciate this, to be fair.
Yeah.
Me too.
I want to reread this. I read it in February, and yes, I agree, Steph. Yeah. I feel like money is a real issue, so it's nice to see that in a romance. And yeah, very Pretty Woman vibes. Again, in Pretty Woman, he's rich and she is the escort, so
Yeah.
it's such a good film. It's one of my favorite feel-good movies. I stick it on whenever I'm like low, or I need to pick me up, or I'm just feeling like
It's really good. And Julia Roberts is just,
I love her.
yes,
And Richard
I love
Gere as
her.
well. Just such
Oh, I need to watch it now.
Yeah, you gotta watch it.
India's doing that after this live show.
Yeah, you know what I'm doing.
Can we talk about the SA part? I feel like it wasn't needed.
What's SA?
What is the SA? I'm blanking here.
Yeah. So we've generally discussed how we felt about the book now. So shall we get into like spoilers so that we don't have to talk in cryptics?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
I never know like how to get to a point where you're like, okay, we've discussed that we really liked the book. Let's go to spoilers.
Yes. Before we accidentally let something slip,
Yeah, because I will do that.
Skylar, let us know what the essay is, please.
Sexual assault.
Philip is an asshole.
Oh my god. I literally have in my fucking notes, Philip is a fucking dickhead.
Yeah, I've got Philip. Asshole.
Literally in my notes.
I think he's the only one that got orange tabs, which are angry tabs.
Yeah. My apologies for not knowing this. Triggers also for that in the book. Yeah. I don't think it was necessarily needed, but also I think it was kind of a thing in which it kind of shows that these things do go on. And he was just a thorn in her fucking side the whole book as well. Like, it started off with her mum saying, oh, bring Philip to the dinner. And then, she's got to work with him. And I don't know.
Like, in the end, she got to a point where she was like, okay, me and Michael are not gonna work out. And she, like, downplayed herself a little bit and was like, okay, maybe I should give, like, Philip a chance. And deep down, she knew that Philip was a dickhead, but she thought, like, okay, I am just not good enough for someone like Michael, so maybe me and Philip are a better fit. Yeah. And that whole scene, I think, made her realize that Philip was just a fucking asshole.
He's an absolute creep. I feel like more should have been done with his actions, though. Like,
yeah,
the way he's touching the women up in the office and sleeping with the interns, and even the way he reacted when Stella said to him, "Don't go near Janie. Do not go near my new PA because she's Michael's sister." And he immediately was like, "Oh my god, that hottie's Michael's sister. What the fuck?" And I was like, "My dude, it's really fucking inappropriate. What's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
I would have loved like that, like his ass got reported in some way and he would like lose his job and like
I know, like, you feel like no young woman would be safe in that office.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's as well, it's not like, because it's not, a lot of what he does is almost like, what's the word? Like, it's not as obvious. Do you mean like a lot of what he does is subtle, but it's still wrong? So it's a sort of like, you feel like he's like not quite crossing a line to where he can get.
He's manipulative.
Yeah.
Hello, Kitty.
Can you shut the fuck up? Or do you want to talk about the conclusion? Have you read the book? No, then shut up.
Lily, is Philip an asshole?
Yes.
I don't know what you want, baby. Come here, then.
This was my first romance I'd read with Autistic rep, and it blew my mind to see someone like me in an actual romance book and not just side character or literary drama fiction. Yeah, if this is representation for you, how did you feel? Like, was it good representation? Obviously, it's not own voices for me, but I think that the representation was done well. But again, I can't speak for autistic people, so it's interesting to know whether or not that representation was done well and what to look for in other books with autistic rep in future.
Yeah, because I found it really interesting and enlightening, but at the same time, I don't know if it is because I haven't been able to speak to anyone who can tell me if it is a good representation.
Yeah.
Well, I have a little bit to say on that, because for me, it was an absolute eye-opener, this book, because I could relate to Stella in so many ways that I got my mind was absolutely blown, like absolutely. It was so eye-opening to me. And then I remembered, and this is like a little bit like private stuff, but I'm comfortable enough to share this with you. Back in 2018, I got diagnosed with depression, and we had like the whole treatment for depression and stuff. And the psychiatrist and the people who are working with me, they said to me that they were almost certain that I had a form of autism called multiple complex development disorder. But we didn't do anything with that because the depression was so severe at the time that the depression was the main focus. So I kind of forgot about it a little bit. Then I read this, and I started looking up the actual term, like multiple complex development disorder, and what it meant. I talked to Steph about it. I talked to Jade about it. And it was absolutely like mind-blowing to me because it described me in a nutshell, basically.
Wow.
And it was so incredibly eye-opening to me that I think the representation in this is, I'm not officially diagnosed, so I want to get that out there. There was a high possibility that if I could get the official diagnosis, I would get it. I'm in the process of that, but that's gonna take a long time. But this was so eye-opening to me, and that's the reason why this book is also like really special to me.
Yeah.
Because it was just a mind-blowing experience for me. So I'm not officially diagnosed with autism, but the people, the specialists, they were really, they were quite certain. They said, we are quite certain that you have this, but we're going to focus on the depression now. So yeah, I could really relate to a lot of things that Stella did. So yeah, I'm not officially diagnosed, but I do feel the representation for me personally was amazing.
Oh, I love when like a
Oh my
person's
God, I'm
experience of a book has like such a response.
Yeah. Ooh, that was really scary, but yeah.
I'm proud of you. Two of my history book club members follow me. Two of my history book club members follow me on Goodreads after seeing that I gave this 5 stars. They read it. I was horrified that the 85-year-old man and his wife read this because of me. What did they rate it?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Yes, I want to know that too.
Oh, I love this for you, Melissa.
Oh.
I read the next book in the series, no spoilers. It gets a bit less rom-commy and has a bit more contemporary fiction elements. Yeah, I believe that the last one is like way more women's fiction than it is romance as well.
Yeah.
Talked with a friend, oh wow, I'm well behind, about the book and what it's about, and she immediately said, oh, so just like Pretty Woman, but the other way around. Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Thank you for being here. You've probably already gone now, but thank you so much for coming. Pretty Woman's on Prime.
Oh, thank you. I'll get on that.
Appreciate it. I hated and loved the scene with his family at dinner. It was so well written because of that. So cringeworthy. You know what? I had this feeling as well. And then I felt a little bit bad because I was like, it's just how she is with her social cues. But also, like, I did struggle with that scene as well. Because, to be fair, though, in general, I would be feeling very overwhelmed in that situation as well, like being with new people that you've never met before, but having all that noise going on, like his grandma with the TV and his sister with the piano and the girls fighting, and it's just, I would also be incredibly overwhelmed in that situation. So I felt for her, but also like the way she upset his mum. Obviously, entirely not on purpose, but the way she upset his mum as well. I felt really bad for her as well.
It was so hard to read, but I feel like it was such a good scene because you read it from your perspective first, thinking like, "Oh God, no," and then you get how awful she feels afterwards because you genuinely didn't understand like
Yeah.
what
I
happened.
saw it really as in that moment she was like so overwhelmed that she had a fight or flight response, and her response was to fight.
Yeah.
Which was the wrong response, but it drove her like in such a corner with everything that was happening, that I think she was so back down that she had to do that. It was just her way of like dealing with the emotions at the time. And I'm
And she
not
did,
saying that's the right response, but she realizes that later on.
but she
Of
genuinely thinks she's helping as well. Like when she
Yeah.
says you can't do that,
yes,
she genuinely thinks that she's helping
yes,
people. So
yeah,
yeah.
I think one of my favorite things about this book is Michael and the fact that he is so conditioned. He doesn't even realize how conditioned he is because of Kai. He doesn't even realize how conditioned, how much of a good person he is as well, that he's not even noticed that she's autistic and he hasn't pulled her up on how, abrupt and quite to the point she can be. And also like with her social cues and stuff and how she's struggling with relationship and sex and things like that. Never once does he question it. He is
No.
just so conditioned to be such a nice person that he just goes along with it and hasn't even noticed that
Yeah.
she would be autistic and she's more like Kai than, Quan immediately picks up on it, whereas Michael just doesn't.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of my favorite things about him. Never once was he an asshole with her because of the way she reacted to a situation or because of how she questioned something, or do you know what I mean? Like he was so patient with her, and I just adore him 100%. I
too.
fell in love with him the
Me
first
too.
time I read it. I've fallen in love with him again the second time, but I
He's
just
one
love
of
him. I
my
think he's
favorite
amazing.
love interests now. Like
Yeah.
he's just he's so
He was
sweet and supportive and
so understanding, and I loved
Yeah.
the scene where like they are almost having like sex, and she is like completely shutting down and he cannot continue, and then he says to her like but are you a virgin? No, I had sex multiple times. And then he says to her, so there are men who actually had sex with you in this state? Yes. And then he says yes. And then he is just so shocked about the fact that these horrible, horrible men, because she thinks it's normal.
Yeah.
She thinks that's the way to go, and that's the normal situation.
Yeah.
And he makes her realize that it's just absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the main reasons that this, like, obviously I couldn't relate to like her being autistic or anything, but like this part I can relate to, and like previous experience when I was younger, and then meeting someone who could like allow me to like find out that sex can actually be a good thing afterwards, and like someone who's going to be patient with you and who's actually going to speak to you through it and all of that. That was like so emotional for me to read because that I can relate to.
Yeah. I
So I
think
think
a
it
lot.
was so well done.
Yeah. I think there's probably quite a few women that can relate to that, to be honest.
Of 100%. Like for
Yeah.
Stella, sex was just like a chore almost, something that needed to be done in order to keep like the guy satisfied almost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then with Michael, she realizes that sex can be fun and it can be enjoyable and it can give her pleasure as well.
Yeah.
And it can make you feel closer to a person and like
Yes.
it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
I loved Michael, honestly. Like,
Me too.
Different views on the sexual assault representation. This view about it being very common in books, especially for sexual assault to be used for plot development, not actual representation. And then this one, it could help people who have been through it feel seen. So different views on that.
Yeah.
I do think like it was very personally I think it was very used like to for plots. but I can see this stuff happens in real life as well. So, it is.
I feel like I need to read that scene again and see like how it was written and like what it was trying to do, sort of things. I don't think I really thought about it enough at the time to properly comment on it.
I think if you think about Philip throughout the whole book, like everything that he does throughout the whole book, it does make sense rather than it just being like thrown in randomly about the sexual assault. I think it makes sense because he is a creep. Like the first 100%. Interaction with him is him walking into her office asking what she's doing on the weekend with a bag of condoms, and him being an absolute sleaze about the new intern. And it's just, he is an absolute creep. And it's all the way through. And you can see that he's trying to get Stella's attention, but going about it the wrong way.
Yeah.
And I think there is the build-up there, rather than it just being thrown in randomly for absolutely no reason. I think the build-up is there of it, but I don't know. I think it's important to sort of show that not everybody is as patient with her and as kind with her as Michael is. There is also, there's always assholes that are going to do it, whether... I don't know.
And I feel like it also, it's not the same, but it kind of brings about something that I think we've all experienced. Whereas if you're nice to a guy, sometimes they think that means, I'm here, come and flirt with me. And like, whatever, like some guys just don't seem to get, and I'm sure girls do as well. Like, I don't want to be like thinking about that, but like, I feel like we've all experienced at least a guy who you being nice to them makes them think that they can just stick it on you. Because he's saying all these things about sex and stuff like that all the time, and she's not like responding in a way like saying like stop, because that's just how she is. He somehow in his head thinks that means he just deserves to be able to just put his lips on her.
Yeah. And also, how many women have not heard like you're being nice to a guy, you're chatting with him, then he wants to do something, you're not down, and he says to you, "Oh, but you've been teasing me all evening." No, it was just nice to you. You fucking asshole.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yep. I think it was her questioning whether it's just her autism or whether he seems inappropriate to her. Yeah. Very realistic. Cried so much because I felt so seen. Oh, bless you, my love. Yeah. She is. Yeah.
I didn't like cry with the story. It was very overwhelming. I cried at the author's note.
The author's note is beautiful, to be fair. I did enjoy reading that.
Why do I not read author's notes? I never read them, and then I get told afterwards how sometimes they can make the book like so much better. Like, it ends with us, the author's note.
Yeah, and the Wicker King. The Wicker King. If you've read that book and not read the author's note, go read it, like right now, because I cried my eyes out, and that made it a 5-star book. It was the best part of the... I loved the fucking book. It was already a 5-star book. But if I could have given it an extra star just because of the author's note, I would have. Like, I cried my eyes out. It was incredible.
Okay, well, this is my sign to start reading author's notes.
Yeah.
Also, it's a Cody favourite for Whatever-thon. So if this is your sign to pick King up.
I literally have it. I should read it. Okay.
Yeah. You should definitely read that.
It's happening.
Indy has to do it. Watch Pretty Woman. Read the Wicker King.
I better start making notes.
Indy texting me later going, what did you want me to do again?
Take notes, India.
I saw so much of a young person close to me in Stella. So from an outside POV of autism, I thought it was good rep. Amazing. It's good for me, especially like with voices at his house and the sound of the club, etc. Yeah, I do get overwhelmed with clubs being too loud and stuff as well. My daughter Mallory has autism. She's only 4, but I can see so much of future Mallory and Stella. There are a lot of little details that were done so well. A lot of books with autistic where I like to ignore the sensory issues, but I like that they included that bit in here. Yeah.
Like the stuff with the clothes.
Yeah. It was attention to detail as well.
Yeah. I felt so seen because I have that. Like, I cannot bear some like types of materials. I was not as bad as Stella was, but there are like some materials that I just cannot have on my skin.
Yeah.
feels weird. I don't like, for example, I realized, and this was also because of COVID, I realized that I'm never going back to wearing jeans because I cannot handle that. And of course, COVID happened, so we all got to wear sweatpants for the entire year, which was fucking great. But then I just realized I just cannot wear jeans. They
Yeah,
are never going back there.
that's
It was
fair.
when he designed the dress for her, and he,
Mm.
oh, it broke my heart.
Yeah. Self-diagnosis is necessary for a lot of people on the spectrum, especially for female autistics. I love that you felt seen. I feel like this book showed the autistic meltdowns very well too. Again, I'm not diagnosed, but yeah, I was like, oh wow, I'm not the only one who breaks down in tears over stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like uncomfortable clothes. Strong
And I
sense.
love, like, in the author's notes, she also like expresses a lot of how autism is very different between males and females.
Yeah.
Females learn, and that's why I absolutely wrote down, females learn to do something which is called masking over the years. So they learn how to mask and put on this face for society. And I was just like, oh my gosh, are you serious right now? But yeah, she got, like, Helen Huang got diagnosed because one of the teachers said that her daughter might have autism, and she was like, no, my daughter has not autism. Then she like got involved in it and learned more about it, and she actually discovers that not only does her daughter have autism, she has it as well.
She was diagnosed at, was it 34 or 37?
I don't know, in her 30s, because she has like learned to mask so well.
Yeah. Attained her diagnosis at age 34.
Gosh.
Stella, my autistic heroine, was born on the page. It's never been so easy for me to write a character. I knew her immediately.
Yeah. And I feel like, obviously, like with medical stuff and mental health, like there is so much progress been made over like the last decade. And things are getting more seen, and with children you get more seen, and diagnosis happen early on. But yeah, I wish, like, when I go back to my childhood as well, I was like such a weird kid. And I just recognize so many things now that I was like, oh yeah, that's why. Huh. Yes. Yes.
The older couple gave it 4 stars. Said it was so written.
I've never read something that was so hot.
I love it.
Hilarious.
Elderly people are supposed to be the most sexually active of all, so
yeah, well, they've got nothing but
that. Yeah.
Just finished The Heart for His Fun. I feel like it was a good balance between the romance of the kiss quotient and the women's kiss quotient and the women's fiction of The Bride Test. Nice. When I gave this book to the mom close to me because I want her to see a positive future representation in fiction, because I don't think there is enough out there. I don't think there is either, to be honest. I just have had to leave. I couldn't have stayed with all the noise. Yeah. Skipped the scene meeting Michael's family this week, like around, because it just makes me sad for everyone. Yeah. When he took her to the nightclub and his cousin told him off, was he? Because so Quan picked it up immediately, but Michael just didn't at all. He totally missed it. Yeah. Everyone needs Michael in their life. Honestly, my partner isn't like a 100% Michael, but he's so close. It's not even funny. Like he knows what I'm struggling. I had, when we were on holiday, actually, story time. I hope he's not here. This would be really embarrassing. I'm hoping he's asleep, actually. No, he's not. I had a day where I was feeling, there was a couple of days actually where I was feeling super anxious, but one closer towards the end of the holiday, and I was really, really struggling to breathe like all throughout the day. And the woman, we'd been hanging out with this couple, and she's got severe anxiety as well, and she spotted it, and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I think Andy had like overheard her, and he'd noticed, but he'd been asking me, and I've been like, "Yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine" throughout the day. And he just like came over and put his arms around me, and he knows exactly what I need, because like my love language is physical touch, and it calms me right down, especially with him. So immediately he like came over, gave me a hug, and for the rest of the night he constantly had a hand on me, whether it was on my leg or he was holding my hand or he was cuddling me, whatever it was. And I just calmed right down immediately. And I was like, again, lack of communication on my part. He could have done that first thing in the morning and I would have been fine for the whole day, but I didn't want to bring his day down. But again, he knows exactly what I need and when I need, like,
God, you're gonna make me cry. That is so sweet.
but I think it comes from 10 years of being best friends, and
Yeah.
he knows what makes me
He
tick.
knows you.
Yeah.
He knows me inside out. So
And they say, like, with studies, they say people on the autism spectrum, they like say that like close physical contact and like tight contact can really like also help,
yeah,
you know. And I it was just like, yeah, it was really, really good to see.
it's only with certain people though as well. Because
Agreed.
you know, with Stella, she doesn't like to be touched by other people, but with Michael, she's not got a problem with it.
Yeah.
So it's with certain people as well. Like, if someone else was to come up to me and try and give me a hug immediately, I might. To be fair, I am quite a huggy person, so maybe I wouldn't have a problem with it. But if I'm really struggling with my anxiety, I might. But
Yeah.
Immediately, I'm fine. It's the same thing with my brother. If my brother came over to give me a hug, I would relax immediately, because again, he just knows, and
Yeah.
he's another like anchor for me, if you like. He keeps me grounded like Andy does. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I read obviously the Bright test. Kaya and Stella are very different from each other. Very different.
Again, shows the difference between
Yeah.
autism in women and autism in men.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I think I need to reread this, as I read it at the beginning of the year and didn't enjoy it, but I enjoyed the rest of the series. I'm starting to think maybe it was me and I need to give it another go. Maybe give it another try. Yeah. How do I please a man instead of how do we do this together?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was her like way of thinking,
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah, because he kept having to tell her, like he kept saying, "Let's try this," and she was like, "Oh, but that you won't get anything from that. Like, how do I please you?" And
Yeah.
he kept tell her, "This is something you do together." Like,
I'm like really behind, sorry. The only thing I didn't like was how they brushed over the situation with Michael and that gross woman at the party. They didn't even address it. Yeah, again, another situation in which a woman has forced herself upon Michael. It's similar to Philip forcing himself on Stella.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But oh my god, what was that plot twist that she turned out to be Philip's mom?
Yeah.
What the fuck? I was like, this is not happening right now.
But also, like, the way that Stella's mum, though, even during that whole situation, and like, obviously, they break up, Michael walks away from Stella, she goes back to the party, and Stella's mum immediately is like, you know what, I've had enough of this shit, let's get her out of here, she's struggling.
Yeah.
She doesn't even question the fact that Michael's just been outed as an escort at the table.
Yeah.
She didn't even question it. She
Yeah.
didn't say anything. She was like, you clearly like this boy. It doesn't matter what he does for a job, it's fine.
Yeah.
She's like been a bit of a, I don't want to say asshole, but she's been a naggy mother.
Yeah, a little bit.
She needs to be in a relationship and give her babies.
Yeah, she is like a little bit traditional, but also she does support Stella in her own way, and then she gets Stella
Yeah.
also. But I didn't love Stella's family as much as I loved Michael's family. I thought Michael's family was great. I thought they were absolutely fantastic. And I thought his mother was awesome. And the moment his mother said, this girl's a keeper because she can admit when she's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Oh, yeah,
came
when
to
she went and
me
took the
to
flowers on the
apologize. Yeah, she came to
Yeah.
me. So she's a keeper. Like, she doesn't mind that she made a mistake because we all make mistakes in life.
Yeah.
She was like, she came to say sorry, and that means so much.
Yeah.
You know, she's a keeper.
And they still allowed her into the family and loved her as one of their own. It was adorable.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. This month's read is Delilah Green Doesn't Care, by the way, for June's read. And just a quick FYI, I'll say it again at the end of the stream, but July's books, I say books multiple, like plural, is the Mindfck series. Because we swapped. I can't even fucking remember if I've announced this or not on Twitter. Like, I am absolutely useless. But I am going to do a post on Instagram at some point this weekend. But the reason being that the first book we picked, the author is problematic for The Sweetest Oblivion. Then the second book that we picked, I can't remember what the fucking title of it is, but it's a Sophie Lark book. Apparently huge triggers for stalking, and I cannot. So we changed to the Mindfck series. If you only want to read the first one, that's absolutely fine. But basically it's a collection, I think, of 5 novellas that come together and make like a book, essentially. And I've been told that it's best to read them back to back and read it almost as like a novel rather than separate the novellas and stuff. So if you only want to read the first one, that's fine. We will say in the live stream come July, like, that this is the section for the first book, and then we'll go into spoilers for the rest of the series. But yeah, if you just want to read the first one, that's fine. But the whole series is on Kindle Unlimited in the UK. I don't know if that's the case elsewhere, but in the UK, it's all on Kindle Unlimited. So just FYI, just to mention that. Thanks, Cece. Close. Here's the link for Discord as well, just in cases you need it, and the Twitter. Thank you, my darling. Also love this book and definitely feel seen. Can't read to the others. Just joined to say that I wasn't a big fan of the representation in this as the others, but it is at least the start of putting female autistic stories out there. Fair. Oh, you know what's really funny? I just had a total mental breakdown, but I completely forgot that we put Cliterature merch on Redbubble. What is that? I was away for 10 days. That, like, what?
I saw that and I was like, why didn't Steph tell me this? I was like, what?
I totally fucking forgot I did this. I wouldn't mind. Cece ordered hers. She got it, sent me a picture. I've seen some of it. Oh my God.
I ordered some as well.
Totally forgot. We do have Cliterature merch if you want it. Oh God. I can't even advertise my own stuff. What is wrong with me? So often the default / only
I
option
agree
is
with this
story.
Like, and the difference is just so big between female and male autism. It's just, it's like a world of difference.
Public health student and her author's note was what partly inspired me to go into this field. Women being represented in science is so important to me. I love that for you.
Yeah.
I love that for you. Handy close your ears. He always has to close his ears when I compliment him. I don't want his head to get too big. Thank you. Me too. Me too. Announced it on Discord, and I think the UK, the individual novellas for okay. I'm glad I did announce it somewhere because I've just so much. Awesome. This is good to know. Have I actually caught up with the nice? Since my mom and I share Kindle account, I was telling her to be warned and mind her business when the Mindfck series shows up. And now she wants to read it and join in on a live show too. Yeah.
Yay!
Great.
We support this. Welcome. Always.
Also, what do we thought like about the whole dad situation with Michael? Because I feel like Michael was like very like closed off from like the world a little bit, because he was like, oh, I'm like my dad, I am a dick, blah blah blah, my dad did this, so I must be like a horrible person as well because it's in my genes.
Yeah. I felt like that was a strange situation, because I don't know if this is a thing that men, again, this is only a question that men could answer really, but I don't know if this is a thing that men do or not. So if their father is a serial cheater, do they genuinely believe that that is something that can be inherited?
I think
Or
they
is it,
do sometimes.
yeah. And I think it was surprising for me because I just thought it was a case of like, it's just a guy being a dick. And he
Yeah.
just keep his hands to himself. But maybe some men actually genuinely believe that it can be inherited, and they do worry about this as a general thing, which is a shame because I bet it holds them back from so many opportunities
Yeah.
because they would hurt someone. But
because I did find that confusing in the book. Like, I thought something was going to have to come out for him to believe that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I thought he was going to have done something in the past that made him think, oh, I'm going to keep doing this and I am like my dad. I didn't really understand how he just believed that he had that in him. But
Well,
maybe it's a thing.
I think it had to do like his dad was like his hero and he really looks up to his dad and he was like very close to his dad, and then all that shit got revealed and he was like, how could I have been so close with such a person?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, because he thought his dad was everything that he wanted to be, didn't he? And
Yeah,
then realized
yeah.
that was all.
And then it all got shattered.
Yeah, that's true. That does make sense.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I thought Michael was a bit dramatic in terms of thinking he was a bad guy as well.
But I think that's maybe a little bit of a guy thing, like between father and son thing.
Yeah. It's
To be
really
fair, like, yeah. I know, you know, people who, like, I've had like guy friends who have said that they'll never have children because their dad did such a bad job and they don't want to do the same thing, and it's like they genuinely believe that they will be the same. So
that is a trope you see a lot as well, isn't it? Like in movies and books and stuff, like guys saying, "Oh, I'll be a shit dad because mine was a shit dad."
Yeah.
It turns out 9 times out of 10, it turns out they'll be fucking awesome dads because of that reason.
Because they'll be everything theirs wasn't. Like,
yeah. Oh, you are very welcome. Happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Hanging out with us for a little bit. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day / evening, whatever time it is for you. But yeah, happy birthday. Why is the logo for the book club confusing me so much?
It is. And a book stack.
And a stack of books. It was literally drawn by Jade in the space of like 3 minutes as a bit of a rough sketch. She said, I'll do you something proper. But it was so that we could set the book club up on Twitter and other stuff and Instagram and set a Discord up. And then we just never got another logo done because everyone loved the logo.
I think it's brilliant.
So on the basis it was drawn in the space of literally about 3 or 4 minutes on a live show.
Yeah, but I love that it's like one line, one ongoing line. I love that.
Yeah. And I showed my brother and he's setting up like a photography company and he's asked Jade, will he do a logo for him? And he said, I want it the same as Cliterature Book Club logo. But like the photography one. So he wants the one line thing. He was like, I just love it. I love the way it looks. I was like, it's a clip,
You
babe.
want a clip for your company?
Oh, I kind of get it. Like, I don't want to be like my mum, but I think he was maybe a little bit dramatic. You know what? That's a mood, to be fair. Like, there are situations with my mum that I do want to be like her, but many that I don't. And I have always grown up worrying that I would become like her. So I've always like wanted to be a mum, but I've always worried that in some certain instances if I did ever have kids, that I would be like her and therefore I wouldn't want kids on that basis, if that makes sense. That was a very convoluted way of saying the same thing, but you know. Does that make sense to you now?
I feel like
a revelation
just going, oh, I see it.
You did indeed. This all stemmed from a live show. It was the wildest thing. Well, story of my life, to be fair. Final book support group was the same.
Love that.
have not noticed an S in the middle of the clip. What? Let me check this out.
I want to look now.
Where's the best place to look? Is it on Twitter?
That's where I'm going. Oh my god, there is an S!
Ah, bless her.
I have never noticed that before.
Me either.
I'm gonna now.
Oh, bless her. That's really funny.
You know, when it first popped up, I thought it was a joke. I was like,
oh yeah, it is.
Cliterature book club. You thought it was a joke?
Yeah, I was like, because I saw the logo first, and I was like, what is this? And then I realized it was a real thing. I was like, okay, now I'm excited.
My husband's father is a bit like Michael's father. Trust me when I say my husband is the best father ever. Nothing like his dad. I love that.
I love that.
Read this book the year it came out, but I had some issues with it. Mainly, I felt like a lot of the characters are a bit one-dimensional. I also don't fully like how the sex work was handled. Oh, fair.
Okay.
Fair. It was. Cece did the whole Discord.
Oh, she was on it like this. We know Cece. She's on it.
Saw the S before the clip.
Oh my god.
Well, I didn't. I saw the clip first, so we know where my mind goes.
Sorry. I feel like it's one of those things that come up on like Facebook and that all the time, where it's like half of people will see this and half of people will see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll always see the clip first.
Remember the dress.
Oh,
my God,
every time.
White
It's black
and gold.
purple. It's black.
No, it's white and gold.
White and gold.
White and gold. It's white and gold. I swear to God.
I honestly thought people were having me on. I thought, like, guys, it's black and purple. Like, what?
No,
I thought people were just
white
making a
and
joke
gold.
out of it, and then someone said, "No, it's white and gold," and I was like, "You what?"
Brilliant.
Oh, and get you all checking the logo. Oh, brilliant. Well, I'm glad that the first book was such a success.
Yeah.
Well, I have one more thing I want to say. It's in my
Okay.
notes. It's
Go
the
on.
last thing I have on my notes. I thought that Stella having a trust fund of like $1 million and her setting up this foundation and then Michael money issues were resolved was very weird and very rushed.
I feel like they did kind of glaze over that pretty quickly, to be fair. Like, we obviously
It
knew
was so weird.
We knew throughout the whole book that she had money, and obviously, like,
Yeah.
she went on about buying him a car and things like that. And then she found out how much in debt he was because of his mum's bills. But I do feel like that was kind of glazed over very quickly. It was mentioned that this fund had been set up for his mom and all this lot. And then it's brought up that it was Stella, but then it's not really mentioned that much after it was mentioned.
Yeah,
Do you
I
know?
thought that was like a little bit weird, but
Yeah.
I didn't mind it all that
It
much.
felt a little bit convenient as well. It was just like,
Yeah.
oh, this will just solve all their problems and then it'll all be fine.
Yeah.
Convenient for the plot. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's still a 5-star read.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Already read Delilah and absolutely loved it so much. Can't wait for the next live show. I think, India, you've read it, right?
Yeah, I gave it 5 stars. I
Nice.
loved it.
Nice.
Oh, I want to read it so bad.
I'm so excited. I'm hoping
Delilah Green is just like, she's just such a good character. She's hot.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. So the next book is Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. And I'm very, very excited to pick this one up. We have Maddie and Christy on the live show for this one. I don't know when the live show is going to be, but obviously it'll probably be at the beginning of
July.
So
you're struggling.
You know what it is? It's because this live show is the middle of the month, whereas normally I would like to do it at the beginning.
Yeah.
Off the way. But similarly, it's probably going to have to be like mid next month again because of Yalk.
You could do it before Yalk.
I mean, possibly. It's my dad's birthday, so I've got a lot on at the beginning of the month because he's 60.
It gives people more time to read it anyway, though.
This is true. This is true. So there's no date yet for the live show, but obviously I will announce it on the Twitter and the Discord, etc. But yeah, and then the July book. Yeah. confusion. The July book is the Mindfck series, and that one will be with Sandra and Gav, and will be completely and utterly fucking chaos. So
yes, that will be chaos.
Yeah. And I've started making lists as well for the next set of books for polls and stuff. So those will be going up probably end of this month, beginning of next month, just to get us started so that I know what books are coming up again soon. And if you have any prompts or tropes or, you know, things that you would like to see us kind of read in future, I have done a tweet this afternoon. So go and check that out. Drop any that you might fancy seeing, specific tropes, fake dating, billionaires, sports romance, whatever the fuck you want. Just drop them in. Aliens.
You could do retellings. Like, you know, there's so many Peter Pan retellings that are dark romances.
Retellings.
Tellings, yes.
Write that down.
Like, if you read The Never King, it's the kinkiest Peter Pan retelling I've ever read in my life.
Oh, really? Hang on, let me write that down.
Oh, she needs to write that down as well. Now Steph making a list to read.
But we will keep you updated, both Twitter and Discord and Instagram. I keep forgetting there's an Instagram as well. But yeah, thank you to the pair of you for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for having us. I had a blast.
And you're welcome back anytime. If there is a book that you are like, oh my fucking God, I need to be on the live show for that, let me know. We'll sort you out. But yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I hope everyone enjoyed the book. I'm really glad that it was a success, actually, and I'm glad to see that no one rated it any less than like 3 stars. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, I don't think anyone DNF'd it or rated it any less than 3 stars. So that's really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. And we shall see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.
Bye.